Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on for another episode? Boy, what a day. Um, another episode of the ABJ Podcast, episode 20. We are so behind schedule. I apologize, everyone. I'm glad everyone stuck around, stayed through the patience, having some technical difficulties on my end, but hopefully everything is smooth out now. If it's your first time here on the podcast, welcome. Thank you so much for the support. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe wherever you're watching. If you're watching on Facebook, head over to the YouTube side and hit that subscribe, and vice versa. All these great platforms that we have going on. Also, if you want to check this out audio only, you can find me on any major podcast platform. If you want to be a guest, and I'm just talking to you, wrestlers. If you want to be a guest, please, in the link below is a link that you can go in, fill out, and be on the show. And then when you message me on social media, you're like, how come I wasn't invited? Because you don't listen to the product that you're trying to be on, and you didn't fill out a link. Talking to you, Jaden Steele, punk. Anyway, you think you're serious? You think you're a heel? Way better. Anyway, I was being nice to you. Speaking of tearing people up on commentary and being a heel and making fun of people. That'll lead us into our guest here tonight. Make sure if you want to check out and support myself as well as him, the links are below. We do have links for social media as well as Patreon is a monthly subscription to help fund the podcast. You can do as little as $1 or whatever you want, and it helps pay a lot of bills here. Also merchandise links. And we have 2 wrestlers who are injured right now, and they could use your support. So if you have anything you can do to help them, or follow them on social media, make sure you check the links below. All the housekeeping out of the way. Without further ado, sorry, running so far behind. Let's bring in our guest, the one, the only. His name is, like his intro music says 14 times, Zack Xander. There he is,
what's
brother.
going on?
Going on, brother.
What's going on?
Zack is a member of the Honor Society. I've had, I think, every single member of this stable now on the podcast except one.
All but one.
He is on the list. I'm getting him on. We'll figure it out. I promise, Crispy, you will be on the podcast. I'm sorry. It's just a crazy day here today. But yes, the Honor Society, training out of the Sanctuary, and maybe we'll find some other stuff out about you as we go. But let's get into this, my guy. How did you get into this insane thing we call professional wrestling?
Oh man, so it's crazy, really. It is. I started, and a lot of people don't realize this. I started in late 2019. I knew a guy. His name is Yankee. Yankee the Difference Maker. He wrestles a lot out of the New Jersey scene. And him and we got in touch, and he brought me up into this place up in New York, which another area he wrestles out of. And he started training me for a little bit. Yankee then introduced me to my very first pro gig, which was ECPW. I can't remember the venue exactly, but it was in Mid-Hudson, New York. And I got to meet, guys like Gino Caruso. I got to meet guys like Captain Amit Payne, Love Jones, people you and I both know, Anthony. And I got to meet the crew up there. And it was a reffing gig. And I had so much fun, a lot of great memories from there. So I trained on and off a little bit with those guys until I worked a little bit over one training session in Brawheadsville. I got to go to PPW. I got to do a class with Alpha. Ton of respect for him. I did a seminar with Doc Gallows. A lot of respect for
that was a good seminar.
Stuff. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it was really.
I watched that one. I was there and watched it.
Oh, no kidding!
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
I was actually standing on the side with Mike Orlando, and we watched that whole seminar together.
Yeah, no kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Look, so I guess we met before we even really met.
Yeah,
that's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, I remember. My favorite part of that seminar is Doc Gallows treated it like a WWE seminar. So everybody was in the ring and everybody was doing like the basic stuff. And Doc just looked around everybody and says, "Shirts off, let's go." And everyone was kind of like,
remember that.
Everybody was like, I'm not in good shape. And he's like, "Shirts off, let's go." And then he kind of like not roast everybody, but kind of was like, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna walk into a room and they're just gonna make you immediately uncomfortable by taking you out of your comfort zone. And he did. Like, it was a really cool, eye-opening thing because he said, listen, I've been a part of every single company you could imagine, and this is what they're going to do when you walk in the door. So it was very interesting to see from his perspective and kind of give people immediately that taste of here's what happens when you're in the bigger leagues.
Oh yeah, no, that Doc Gallo seminar, that was really incredible. I remember my one buddy arrived a little bit late. So at this point we're all shirtless. He gets in, and I look at him and I said, "Hey, Doc said shirts off. You gotta take your shirt off." And he's like, "What?" And I said, "Shirts off." So he took his shirt off, and then he did the thing in the ring. But he's training now actually over with Alpha currently, and I'm very proud. He's a young kid. I believe he's 16 at the moment. Him and I, we go way back. So his family and I knew each other. So he's now in the business. But so I did one class with Alpha. It's a Samoan training, so it killed me.
A lot of running.
Yeah. A lot of legs. I couldn't feel my legs for a long time. But after that, no, I got then introduced to the Sanctuary by Kyle D and the Fearless One, ironically enough, of all people. They introduced me to the Sanctuary, and I was like, well, this is close to home, and this is closer than Broadheadsville. So let me see how I go there and how I like it. And let's see, because I've never heard of the Sanctuary. This is my first time seeing it. And I went there and I loved it. It was such an incredible feeling, seeing everyone for the first time, meeting John, meeting Precious, meeting Vince, Crispy, the Fearless One, Kyle. We rode down together. It was overall a really fun trip, and that small introduction is like, you know what, I think this.
Where are you based out of?
So I'm really in like the Wilkes-Barre area.
Okay.
So I'm, like I could go to Broadheadsville and it'll be like an hour drive, or I can go to the Sanctuary where it's like 30 to 40 minutes.
And you didn't hear about like Backbreakers or now High Ground at the time?
So I've heard about Backbreakers, and Backbreakers has always been something, I've been considering. But it was just, I think word of mouth overall just led me there more.
Yeah.
Instead of having to reach out and, going that way about it. I think word of mouth convinced me.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you at the Sanctuary, and you're part of it now. So, I'm so sorry. I'm off my game. So,
you're good.
What is the difference so far in your training experience from your place in New York to then Broadheadsville for your solo session and now the Sanctuary?
I think the difference really is, as much as I love the place in New York, New York was like 2.5 hours away from me, so I wouldn't be there every week. I wouldn't be there constantly. Whereas the Sanctuary, I'm there a lot more. I'm seeing a lot more people. I'm getting more ears and getting more minds. So there's more things to pick. Even like with ECPW, because I trained with them for a little bit too. Jersey, they have a school out in Jersey. That was about 2 hours away from me. That wouldn't be an easy drive. BPW, PPW, they were, like I said, they were an hour. There were a lot of good heads to talk to, some incredible minds. But like I said, overall at the Sanctuary, it was just closer and a ton of fantastic minds to pick from. You got Palco, you got, John, you got Schultz, Hawthorne, and even the Honor Society kids. Billy Walker got a lot of minds to pick from there. He's incredible respect for all of those guys.
Great trainer. Yeah, like I said, it is tough, man. I only ever travel for gigs, so it is very difficult knowing what you're coming from to travel an hour and 30 minutes, hour and 45 minutes to Broadheadsville than it is 30 minutes to go to up the road for me anyway. Up the road,
right.
in us for school county is a 30-minute drive, which if people are like, that's a long time. And 30 minutes is your normal commute to work every day if you live in our area, because it's just the way we travel. Your sanctuary feels like it's 5 minutes away, where traveling to most places for me as well is quite a hike. Driving to like Rio Grande, Jersey, which is like a 2.5, 3 hour drive, driving to this
Right.
place in Jersey, which is 3 hours, and then and then you jump on the road and you're in Hazleton in 15 minutes and you're ready to go.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I'm so used to traveling. I'd be like, oh, it's 2 hours away. That's not far. And then like every other person's like, what do you mean? 2 hours is really far. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah. That's one thing about this business, man. If you want to be in it, you better put miles on your car, because you're going to be
oh
all
yeah.
over the place. I probably
Oh,
paid more money in tolls and gas in last year than I probably care to admit. Tolls
yeah,
alone, tolls.
Jersey.
But hence why the Patreon is a great way to support the ABG. No, joking.
Yes.
But so you started your journey here at the sanctuary, and then you got when was your first time you actually got to step in the ring, had a match, and put something together?
So, I mean, obviously training, but like the very first film product that I got to step in the ring, put something together. Well, actually, let me tell the training story first. The very first time, John, like I was talking to Trosky, and he asked me about my background and where I came from and all this other things. Um, and I told him the story that I mentioned to you, and I got in there. He said, "All right, I'm gonna give you my guy, one of my top students, Vince Torres. He's gonna, him and Zack, you guys are gonna wrestle, put on a 5-minute match," and we did, and it wasn't great, but we put it on. We got through. John sat me down, talked to me about my criticisms and that stuff, and he offered me to come back, which I did. The very first show that I wrestled for was the Stampede. Um, as you and I both, very famously remember, a lot of names were at that show. Adina Steele. Let me see. Adina, only because Adina is relevant right now. It's just the first one I could think of. Adina, Kit, Billy, Mike, Riley Crow. Trying to think, because there were so many people there. Aaron Roxas, that's one I could think of.
I believe Tyrant was in that.
Yeah, Tyrant. There's dudes I want to learn from. Tyrant, right there, both of them.
Yeah,
both of them.
So
so I did the Stampede, and then Vince and I did another match. Oh, I'm sorry.
So you get to step in there with some big names. What was that experience like? Getting in that situation.
It was really fun. Getting to go there. Above average Joe Scott, I got to wrestle him in that Stampede for a little bit too. But a lot of great names, a lot of fun talents. So many minds to pick from. Like, hey, this is what we're thinking. This is what we're gonna do, and it's like awesome. Yeah, I'd love to learn that. The Bristol Lion, Marcus Schuyler, he was there too. Again, a very fun mind to learn from. And that was the big thing for me. I just got to learn from a lot of people.
If you were able to tell somebody who is listening to this in your early career, what is your style, or what are you trying to emulate, or what are you trying to get out of your career? Like, what if someone was going to see your match, what would they expect?
I'd say a very quick style. I would consider myself a very hybrid style wrestler. So I do know a little bit of technical. I do know a little bit of lucha libre. I'm very quick. I'm very high flying. I'm very fast paced. Recently, actually, just this past weekend, I wrestled at a promotion called Delta Wrestling Alliance, and I wrestled in a championship title match. And I probably hit like the longest elbow in the corner that I've ever hit. I jumped from about more than halfway in the ring, and I connected fully on that elbow, which I was very proud of. And I'm not trying to, boast about myself, but like, small arms, big elbow. But no,
I always thought to myself, like, what if you were a really small, like, guy, didn't have the mass or the weight, and everyone's like, well, you're gonna be the high flyer, and you're like, oh, I don't like heights. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh no, this is gonna be a journey. You're like, well,
Honestly,
get used to bumping, kid. That's gonna be your gimmick. You're gonna be the kid who takes crazy bumps.
honestly, no. I've always thought of that. I was like, heights are pretty weird. I better go start riding some roller coasters.
Yeah, you better break your fear of heights real quick.
Yeah, honestly.
What would you say some of your challenges are as a professional wrestler? Something that you really maybe your shortcomings that you're trying to work on to get better at.
My size, hands down. That's the first big thing. I need to get bigger, and that is something that I've always pushed on myself. Size. I'm not going to say size doesn't matter in wrestling, but in a sense, it does. Um, I'm going to be honest with you. I am 145 pounds. Though not the smallest, it is still
And
a
20
very
of that's
small
your hair.
Oh, sorry, without the hair. No, but like I'm 145 pounds. I do need to get bigger. I need to grow more muscle, and there has been issues with me growing muscle, but every day I am fighting to get that muscle. Ironically enough, when you had Vince on the podcast. I want to tell this story. When you had Vince on the podcast, and you said, and I appreciate you for saying this, you said either Zack Xander is going to be a kid who grows a lot of muscles or doesn't grow any. You said that while I was at the gym. Like I was running the treadmill, and you're like, "Yeah, Zack Xander's either going to grow muscle or not." And I'm like, "Oh,
It's tough, man. When you're
it is."
young and you just don't have control of your body or your metabolism, uh, it happens. And when you're very young, so you don't have that spot in your body where your metabolism slows down. You can bulk up. You're
Correct.
probably every single time you run and every single time you're doing treadmill or cardio, you're probably hindering yourself. But you also need the cardio because you need your gas tank for the wrestling ring. So
Oh yeah.
it's definitely a double-edged sword. Dude, I was in the same boat. I wasn't a professional wrestler growing up, but I played a lot of basketball. And every time I played the court, I had to have an outside shot because I didn't have the body to take it to the paint. And every single time I tried to take it to the paint, I would just get bodied. And I was just like, this is not easy for me. At the same time, too, I had a joint disorder that I was fighting through that I probably should have been playing with. And and I kept every time I would drive, I would just take beatings after beating after beating. I had all these like injuries that I'd have to play through. And I remember one summer, I was the same boat as you. I was like 145 when I graduated high school, but I had nothing up top. I had a nice core, and then I just was all legs. So I was so scrawny up top. My legs were not like I had big, like thick legs, because I grew up playing soccer and I was also a kicker in football. Um, so I just remember one summer I worked at this factory and it was hot and it was just insane. And I would bring a loaf of bread and a huge jar of peanut butter, and all I would eat all day long was just peanut butter sandwiches. And I would take protein, and I would just take everything I can to bulk up. And I ended up going from like 140, and it took me like a year and a half, but I went from 145 to 160, 170, and I started leaning up a little bit, and then I got hurt again, and then it went from bulking up to then just getting overweight. So there is hope. You're gonna have to triple up on everything that's gonna, put those pounds on and just get in the gym and tear it up. You know what I mean? You got to really tear those muscles up and do what you got to do. But it's not easy. But it like I said, also I didn't start doing it until I was in I would say my late 20s when I started doing it. Yeah, because I just couldn't gain weight. Now I can't lose it.
No, I get it. I get it. No, it's definitely tough for me to get muscle, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna keep at it. I'm gonna keep going to the gym. I'm gonna go full boogie tilt and just do what I can, man.
I mean, look at people like Jordan Oliver. At one point in
Yeah.
time, he was the same way. He had a size issue, and now he got up there. He got older. He got more mature. He's figured out his body. He's figured it out in the gym, and he's bigger. Look back at Ace. Ace was super scrawny at one point in his career, very tiny,
Yeah.
and now he's built like an NFL running back. You know what I mean? It's just
Oh my God.
it just takes time and dedication, and I feel like you have the passion and the heart to do it. You know?
I appreciate that. No, I really do. Thank you.
Yeah. So what are some goals you have for this upcoming season of the Sanctuary?
At the sanctuary, really, goals are just people I want to step in the ring with. Right now, I know I'm still a little too fresh, a little too young to go for any title. So that's not sitting at the top of my mind at the moment. Right now, for me, it's about learning. It's about picking brains. It's about getting to people's minds. It's about, seeing dudes like J.S. Hawthorne, getting in the ring with him, because, his knowledge, it's very impressive. Prince Ahmed, Prince, the torture artist, very, very intelligent man, as well as Billy Walker again. Him and Billy, they're mean together. But they're also both very wise. And even getting better, getting stronger, working out more with the Honor Society, training harder with those guys. Just keeping at it, keeping doing what I'm doing, and just getting better ultimately.
What are some matches that you had last year that stand out that you felt you made like that you felt maybe was that moment where everything clicked for you?
I think the big standout match for me, and I know a lot of like the popular answer is Philly Mike Swanson. And though that match, I do enjoy that match, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to wrestle Philly Mike. It was the Bristol Lion when I got in the ring with him, just cause again, I got to pick minds and I understood his psychology, and being able to learn from him. And also my family was there to watch that match, and being able to see their reaction and being able to understand what's going on in the ring. I got it at that point. I was like, I think I'm understanding things a little bit better here, and I think I got a shot here.
Yeah, you and Philly Mike definitely had the speed match where it was like you had a little technicality and size wise it matched up really well. But I think you and Bristol was a little different because he had more size on you and he can do
Oh
a
yeah,
lot more and you guys were able to uh you know get more stuff done because he can base and stuff for you as well
yeah,
and take some high flying stuff because of the size comparison. So yeah, I definitely think both those matches are really good. But like I said, styles clash, you know what I mean? And like I said, I think that the more of the size, I think is going to be beneficial to you right now. Like you wrestling the bigger guy and letting him like essentially the small versus big guy, I think is definitely going to be your advantage right now in your younger career.
oh yeah, for sure, 1,010%.
hmm Um, so outside of the sanctuary, what other promotions do you work for?
So I did work for this one promotion called RCW, not Regional Championship Wrestling, but Renegade Championship Wrestling at
Okay.
the time. They had some issues going through. So they're not running at the moment. I currently wrestle and am champion for a promotion called Delta Wrestling Alliance. I actually have the belt with me. Sorry, pal, I gotta, promote. But I'm currently the DWA X Factor champion. And I got to wrestle a lot of cool names, a lot of cool heads from there. Where
And you
else
had
am
it
I
on deck. You were ready to go for that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I had that. I keep that thing on me. This was sitting on my lap for like the past hour.
I like that. That was not planned at all. I
No.
swear to you, this has been organic, and he just pulled that out of nowhere. I was like, that seemed so scripted for how quick you pulled that title up.
Well,
Wow.
you see.
I was like, Jesus, what? He didn't even have to reach for it. It was just like, oh, by the way, I am the champion here.
Yeah, he set me up. Thank you.
Wow. All right. That was interesting. That woke me up. Oh man. Oh, it was so funny. Anyway,
Um,
bro,
but
who do
yeah,
you?
I'm looking to debut for a couple new promotions as well. Can't necessarily say just what yet. I was just in North Carolina for private taping for a brand new wrestling promotion that's coming up. I'm gonna be going out to New Jersey in a couple weeks here. And I'm just trying to branch out a little bit.
Yeah, I can confirm he took his title off for milkshakes.
Yeah,
Keep drinking
I
those
mean,
milkshakes. You'll put those weight on that way. Probably won't be the weight you want, but it'll weight is weight at this point.
well,
Uh, so who are some people that you emulate if when you like growing up being a wrestling fan that you watch on TV and you're like that's where I'm getting my inspiration from. That's where I'm driving myself for a lot of my moveset.
you know, At first, it was AJ Styles. Truth be told, I was very much so in the casual market. I maybe even religiously watching at this point. Styles, uh, Osprey back then, General, High Flyers, Ricochet, guys who were in the indie market, those big names in the market. But as time goes on, currently, I don't really think I'm trying to emulate anyone else's style. It's weird. I'm starting to find my own ground, starting to find my own homecoming. And I think ultimately it's just at this point about having fun, trying to figure out what I can do, see where I could push my body, and see really how I could work in the ring.
Yeah. Um, Now, oh, there you go. Another one. I heart the extremely great wrestler.
Huh. Thank you to Pew.
It
Thank you.
is.
I appreciate it.
Over on the Twitch side, I think they're crowns. I'm not sure. Crazy what that is. Crazy ruler. It looks like a crown, right? They look like
It
weird
does look
crowns.
like a crown.
Very
I
strange
got to
looking
lean in
crowns.
for that.
Yeah. So going into the sanctuary this season, for the honor society, what can you guys? I know each member kind of told me a little bit of what their plans are, but what is your goals?
Ultimately, for the Honor Society, I think for us, 2023 is going to be the year that we break out. I think it's going to be the year we do something. I think it's going to be the year where we become something more. 2022, we introduced ourselves. 2023, it's time to get the gears going. I think we go out there. I think we do something big and really make ourselves known. Like, hey, Hazleton, Pennsylvania, we are the Honor Society. Vince Torres, Chris B, Precious, Zack Xander, all of us, we are going to do something. I don't know what it is, but 2023, we are going to do something.
What is the difference? What has been the difference with you going from a situation of traveling kind of solo and going to places and getting that experience when it comes to like the New York place and this and joining up with a group of guys as like the honor society and training in that fashion?
I think it's great personally. Going solo again, those 2.5, 3 hour car rides. Going by yourself, it could be very tiresome. But just going to be able to go like 45 minutes, or no, I'm sorry, half hour to 45 minutes away from home, just to meet up with your friends, to meet up with people that you call brothers, to be able to get in the ring, to be able to work and really get better. I think to me that has made all the difference. It brings me up physically, it brings me up mentally, and overall, it's just a lot more fun that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were talking before about like the young guys over at High Ground, and then you guys here at the Sanctuary, and it is very nice from an outside perspective to see you guys stick together and motivate each other, help each other get better, keep each other on track. Because it's easy to say those one days where it's like, today's not the day for me, or today I'm not feeling it. Today, almost kind of like everyone has those days. At least I know I do, where I feel sorry for myself. I'm like, today's
Oh
not
yeah,
the day for me. I'm not growing like I want. I'm not having the most positive day. And then you have that reinforcement. It's like, yo, let's go. Stop being sorry. Get in the car. Let's do what
yeah,
you got to do. So I think it
time
is
to
kind of
work.
nice to have that support system.
Having those reinforcements there, it's really a great feeling.
Hmm.
Because there are times where it's like, hey, like I'm not feeling it, like mentally, I don't think I could bring myself there. And it's not just me. It's quite a few of us too. We just be like, hey, we're not feeling it. But then at others, they'd be like, no, let's do it. Like we need to. There's obviously something going on. Let's get down. Let's talk about it and let's work it out.
Hmm.
um let's like let's do something, let's get better. um and of course from there we turn our sadness, whatever emotion we're going through at the time, into a learning experience and to knowledge on how to get better. Again, into us testing things, seeing what works for us, what doesn't.
So where can people find you on social media, and how can they show support?
Yeah, man. So you could find me on all sorts of social media. I am on Twitter. I am on YouTube, Instagram, and of course Facebook. You can go ahead. You could follow me at Zack.Xander1 or ZackXander.1. I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to social handles.
They are all linked below as well. So if he gets it
Yes,
wrong,
they are
have...
all in the description. So let me be the first to pull up my own live stream real quick and go to your description. And
do you have a
go
merch
ahead.
page or anything set up
Instagram
yet?
is at Zack.Xander1. Twitter is ZackXander_1. YouTube, you could go ahead, look up Zack Xander. I'll be right there.
Yeah. Is there a place where people could buy merchandise or anything?
Not at the moment, but plans are changing very, very soon, hopefully.
Awesome.
We should, and I'll announce this here. We should be getting a pro wrestling tees store coming up. I've been approved for everything. I just need to get some more designs. And then I'll have that all launched and available.
Look at you, killing it, brother. Well, I do apologize. We didn't get the full 45-minute hour out of this. I did have my technical difficulties to start, but like I said, dude, this door is always open, and I'd love to have you. Very young in your career, have a lot of potential. The best place to see him, if you're not local to the area, is definitely subscribing if you're on my YouTube channel, scroll down to the bottom. First off, you're going to see friends that I follow all those people, show them love, and then you're going to see promotions I work for. The number one there is the Sanctuary, and subscribe. Shows are look like they're coming sooner than later, which is fingers crossed the weather holds up and we can get rid of this cold weather and no more snow and all that other great stuff. And you can start seeing all this great action that you can anticipate at the Sanctuary. Once again, thank you so much, brother. I do apologize for all the issues I had today. My camera, everything is going wrong. I didn't, I just realized.
It's all good.
Right. I literally just the whole time I was going, is my microphone set up properly? Because I've done 30. I did 15 minutes of a podcast where I wasn't using this microphone, and that was embarrassing. So I'm so sorry for everything that's been going on. This is what happens when you try to cram multiple podcasts in one day, as well as live streams and everything else. So that is on me. I will definitely have you back very, very soon. And I'll give you your full allotted time, and we'll talk more of stuff of your hobbies and stuff like that. But Zack, thank you so much for your time. Make sure you check out your links below. Support this kid. He's young in his career, and we're gonna raise funds, and we're gonna buy this kid all the steroids, and he's gonna be the most jacked guy of all time. And you can listen to me at the Sanctuary. I go a little hard in the paint on the Honor Society. So I'm not really a bad guy. I just sometimes play one on TV. But let's close out with some great music by my boy Billy Trey, and we'll see you guys next time here at the ABJ Podcast. Actually, before we even move along, next week we have 2 interviews going on. We have someone I don't know anything about, so I'm excited to learn a lot about him during the show and grow and develop that friendship. Will Carroll on the podcast next week for episode 21, and then 22, and rounding out the month of January and the beginning of this year, we're going to do later on that same day, Donnie Bambino coming from High Ground, former backbreaker. So great interviews there. Going into the month of February, things are going to be a little different. We're going to go 2 days a week, but it won't be the same day. Those aren't happening no more. It's going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they're going to vary between 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock. So depending on what time frame we can get in, we're going to do that. So a lot of great interviews coming up for the February. I did announce a bunch of them. I'm not going to go through them all right now, but there's some bangers coming up next month. So I'm very, very excited. But we're going to let you guys go. And if you want to jump over and hang out, we are doing a live stream in about as soon as I can end this and hopefully nothing goes wrong, we will be live watching NXT for the watch along. So thank you guys so much. Here's some Billy Trey. Zack, once again, I appreciate you, my guy. I wish you the best in this career, this crazy business that we call pro wrestling. And we'll talk to you guys next time on the ABJ Podcast. Here's some Converse, kid.